Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why the most beautiful women often fall for guys who aren't the richest, the best looking, or even the most charming? Why do some men seem to live in women's minds rent-free, while others, no matter how hard they try, get ignored, ghosted, or put in the dreaded friend zone? The answer isn't what most dating coaches tell you. It's not about having a six-pack, flashy cars, or some perfect line you memorize in front of the mirror. No, my friend, the truth is far more powerful and more dangerous. It's psychological. And once you learn how to speak to a woman's mind, not just her ears, something changes. Her entire perception of you shifts. You go from just another guy to someone she can't stop thinking about. You become the mystery she needs to solve. In this episode, I'm going to break down 7 psychological shifts used by the most grounded, self-controlled, and quietly dangerous men. And once you understand them, you'll never chase again. Now, before we dive in, I'm going to make one thing clear. This isn't manipulation, it's awareness. You're not here to trick her. You're here to stop tricking yourself into thinking being nice is enough. All right, let's get into it. Trick 1. Ignore her beauty. Praise her mind. Let me paint the scene. You meet a stunning woman. She walks into the room and it's like the air changes. Heads turn, yours too. And before you can think straight, the words fall out of your mouth. Wow, you're gorgeous. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And just like that, you've become invisible. Why? Because every guy does that. Attractive women have been hearing it since they were 14. Compliments on beauty have become like spam in her inbox, auto-deleted before she even reads them. Now imagine this. She makes a clever observation about a book she read. Something deep, unexpected. Everyone else in the room misses it, but you catch it. You lean in slightly and say, calm, grounded. Most people wouldn't have picked up on that. I can tell you see things most people overlook. That's rare. And then, you don't say anything else. You let it land. That moment, you just became different. Not because you tried to impress her, but because you saw something deeper and acknowledged it without fanfare. Real example? A buddy of mine met a woman at a networking event. While every guy complimented her dress or her smile, he asked her what business book had changed her thinking most in the last year. She paused, looked at him like he had just switched languages, and smiled. They ended up talking for 3 hours straight. A week later, she told him, "You were the only one in that room who didn't treat me like a Barbie doll." Here's the thing. When you praise a woman for her mind, you hit a part of her that rarely gets touched. It's unfamiliar, it's intimate, and it sticks. This is what psychologists call a value reversal. You stop acting like you're lucky to be talking to her, and she starts feeling lucky to have your attention. And that, my friend, is the root of obsession, because now she's not chasing attention. She's chasing identity. Here's your move. Next time you talk to a woman, resist the urge to mention her looks. Look for something others don't see. Something sharp, subtle, or soulful. And praise that. And when the moment comes, when you've built a real connection, and you casually say, "By the way, you're also stunning," it'll hit 10 times harder, because now it's not flattery. It's validation from a man she respects. Trick 2. Pull away when she wants you close. Let me tell you something that sounds crazy, but it works. When a woman starts leaning in, you pull back. Not ghosting, not playing games, just enough space to make her feel your absence. Here's why. Most guys, once they sense a woman is starting to get interested, they flood her with attention. They think, "Yes, I got her. I just need to match her energy so she doesn't lose interest. And that's the trap. She texts. You text right back. She compliments you. You overdo it and start chasing. But here's the truth women won't say out loud. They don't obsess over men who are always available. They obsess over the ones who create tension. It's not about being toxic. It's about being intentional. Imagine this. You're talking to her daily. The vibe is good. She starts texting you more, even sending little voice notes. That's your signal, not to ghost, but to slow the rhythm. You take longer to reply. You become just slightly less available. You focus on your work, your training, your mission, and suddenly, she's the one thinking about you. She wonders, why did the energy shift? Is he losing interest? Was it something I said? And that is when you enter her head. Real story. I knew a guy who was dating a girl way out of his league by conventional standards. The one thing he did differently, every time things got a little too predictable, he'd create space. He'd go silent for a day or two, not in anger, just living his life. She once told him, "You frustrate me. I never know where I stand with you, but I can't stop thinking about you." That's the game. When she feels like she almost has you, her emotional brain lights up. She starts working to earn you again, and that keeps her hooked. So don't be afraid to hold back. When you create just enough distance, you give her the gift of mystery. And mystery is the fuel of obsession. Trick 3. Make her jealous. Subtly. All right, let's get real. Jealousy makes most men uncomfortable. They avoid it. They think, if I make her jealous, I'll look like a player. Or worse, a jerk. But here's the truth. When done right, subtly, with confidence, jealousy can be one of the most powerful emotional triggers to cement your place in her mind. Let me explain. Women are biologically wired to respond to pre-selection. It's an evolutionary filter. If other women want you, her brain assumes, this man must have value. And you don't need to flirt in front of her. You don't need to talk about your ex or name drop other women. All it takes is energy. Social proof. Example. Let's say you're out with her, and a woman from across the room smiles at you. You don't even acknowledge it. You stay grounded, calm, but she sees it. Or maybe a female friend hugs you and calls you trouble in a playful way. You smile, stay cool, move on. You didn't do anything, but her mind just went spinning. Who was that? Is he always like this around women? Why do I suddenly want him more? That's the silent power of jealousy done right. Now be warned, try too hard and you'll look desperate. Drop obvious hints. Post shirtless selfies with models. You lose the subtlety. You look like you're begging for attention. Instead, be socially magnetic. Build a life where women naturally want to be around you, and let her see it without you ever pointing it out. That's when the insecurity hits. Not in a toxic way, but in a way that makes her want to secure her place in your life. She starts thinking, I'm not the only one who sees his value. I need to step up. That's not manipulation. That's amplified truth. Trick 4. Act like you could walk away at any moment. There's a kind of strength in a man who isn't afraid to walk away. It's rare, it's magnetic, and it scares the hell out of women in the best way. Most men, once they get a little affection, a few kisses, or a sweet message, they cling, they compromise, they lose themselves trying to keep her happy. And without realizing it, they give away every ounce of power. But the man who carries himself with quiet confidence, who enjoys her company but doesn't need it to breathe, that man, he stands out. Real example, a coaching client of mine was dating a girl who kept testing him, pulling away, delaying plans, giving him mixed signals. At first, he panicked. Then one day he said calmly, Hey, I like spending time with you, but if this doesn't feel right for you, I'm okay walking away. No drama, no anger, just peace. You know what happened? She messaged him every single day after that. He flipped the frame. Because here's the truth. When you're not afraid to lose her, she becomes afraid to lose you. It's a reversal of power. And it only happens when your self-worth comes from within, not from her validation. The moment a woman feels like your life revolves around her, the tension dies. But when she senses that you're choosing her, not needing her, everything changes. You stop being the safe bet and become the prize she wants to win. Trick number 5. Be unpredictable. Never let her fully figure you out. Let me tell you something women will never admit out loud. They crave mystery more than certainty. Not because they want to be confused or played, but because mystery keeps them emotionally alert. You see, when a woman feels like she's got you all figured out, when she can predict how you'll text, talk, show up, react, her mind goes to sleep. Emotional tension fades, and with it, so does her attraction. But when you introduce just enough unpredictability, something fascinating happens. She becomes hooked, not because you're playing games, but because you're alive, you're dynamic, and most importantly, you're not routine. Let me give you a real example. There's this guy I know, solid dude, calm, present, but every now and then, he flips the energy. He'll usually have these deep, serious conversations with a woman, philosophy, purpose, growth. Then one day, he shows up light, playful, teasing her, says something like, "All right, Ms. Deep Thinker, let's see if you can handle sarcasm today." She laughs. She blushes. Why? Because he just became unpredictable. He broke the rhythm, and that break in a woman's emotional world creates a ripple effect. It forces her to re-engage, to reassess who you are, to chase the next moment because she doesn't know what's coming next. Here's the truth. Women don't fantasize about boring. They fantasize about the unknown, the guy who is layers, the one who challenges the script. So stay grounded in who you are, but vary how you show up. Sometimes deep, sometimes playful, sometimes present, then suddenly gone for a bit. Let her wonder, let her miss you, because once she can't predict you, she starts feeling you. Trick 6. Trigger her competitive side with other women. You know what nobody teaches men? That women are competitive. Now, I'm not talking catty or petty drama. I'm talking about deep-rooted primal instincts. A woman might seem cool, detached, even indifferent. But the moment she senses another woman wants your attention, boom, everything changes. Her awareness sharpens. Her energy shifts. She goes from relaxed to alert. And here's the kicker. You don't even have to do anything. You just have to be a man of value and let the social cues speak for themselves. Let me give you a simple example. You're talking to a woman and another woman walks by and says, "Hey, you coming to the event Friday?" You smile, say maybe, and turn back to your convo. You didn't flirt, you didn't brag, but the woman you're talking to, she felt something. Who is that? Why does he seem so connected? Wait, do other women want him? That small trigger, that invisible competition, it lights a fire inside her. Because here's the truth. Women hate feeling replaceable. And when they see that you're desired by others, they double down on making sure they stand out. You don't have to manipulate this. Just build a life where you're around women naturally through work, hobbies, passion, social spaces. Let her see your value without needing to prove it. Because once she knows she's not the only one who sees your worth, she'll fight harder to be the one who keeps it. Trick 7. Give her attention, then take it away. This one is a game changer. You want to know what makes your presence powerful? Your absence, it's not just what you give, it's what you take away, strategically. Here's what most men do wrong. They meet a woman, get her attention, and then flood her. Texts all day. Validation over exposure. And at first, sure, she responds, but soon, she fades. Not because she stopped liking you, but because you gave her no space to want you. No silence, no tension, no time to miss you. Let me tell you a story. One guy I coached was too available. Every time the woman texted, he jumped. Every time she hinted at plans, he'd rearrange his whole life. So I gave him a challenge. Next time she texts, wait. Don't reply right away. Let her wonder, let her reach. He did it, and she texted again. Then called, then messaged, "Hey, just thinking about you." That's the power of controlled absence. When you give her emotional highs, deep presence, real connection, then you withdraw for a bit. She feels the shift like thunder. It plants a thought in her head. Where did that energy go? Is he thinking about me? Why do I miss him right now? That's obsession. So don't be afraid to pull back, not to punish, but to reset the emotional rhythm. Give, then step back. Let her chase. Let her feel the difference between your presence and your silence. Because if she never feels the lack, she'll never value the return. Final word. This isn't a game. It's a standard. Let's be clear. What we just walked through, it's not a bag of tricks. It's a shift in identity. You're not here to become more attractive to women. You're here to become a man who no longer needs to perform for attraction. Because when your life is rich, when your presence is rare, when your attention is earned, not given away, she doesn't just want you. She becomes obsessed with the energy you bring. And that is where your real power begins. So if any of this resonated, if you felt like these shifts unlocked something inside you, then do this. Comment, "I know my value." Subscribe to the podcast, because what's coming next isn't about dating. It's about power, focus, self-control, and building a life so compelling she either fits into it or gets left behind. I appreciate you being here. Now go live like a man who doesn't chase. He attracts.